I don't know, have you heard about this term before? Okay, so lesson 1 is Christianity is a worldview. Lucy, control the time for me. Don't let me talk too long, okay? Hopefully I can finish it in half an hour, okay? All right. Okay. So this is based upon Chuck Colson's book, all right? His book is called How Now Should We Live, all right? I took his class. Actually, I took his online class in 2004, okay? The original book is 1998, came out. So I took online course with him. And I probably, many people like you that we grew up in the church. We study Bible. We do all these things we know in the church. But I just always feel like, how do we answer the question outside the church, especially on the culture side? And honestly, I grew up in the church. I don't have that much opportunity to learn. The church didn't talk about this. Maybe I'm your pastor. Maybe I also need to take the responsibility. I like to talk about it, but I didn't feel like I also feel easy to talk about this. So I feel this is a good opportunity for us to talk more and talk deeper, because we live in a society is very different than what we originally live with, the Judeo-Christian culture. Outside the church, everything is very different than what you learn in the church. Actually, that put me as a pastor in a very difficult situation. Right. So for my own sake, for the future pastor's sake, we need to talk about this. Okay. So if you want to learn more, I suggest encourage you to buy this book. You can read through the summer. Okay. Now, How Now Should We Live? Only like $15. You're lucky you can read in English. Chinese will cost you $45. All right. You only spend $15 to get this book in English. Why we need to talk about this? Because according to study, you see that percentage of people with a biblical worldview is declining in each generation. On my generation, it's 10%, which is pretty low already. But then it's the Gen X 7, Millennium 6, now the Gen Z 4. Wow, it's very, very dangerous and sad. What do you mean by a Christian worldview? That's some question that generally ask. And that's how we want to go through this basic question in the first few weeks, okay? Because only if you design it, you understand this foundation, then you can start to answer question what we encounter, okay? Too often, we go right into a lot of issues without understand what's behind. And that's why we become arguing. And we couldn't really answer or hit the discuss a question, okay? So actually, does God exist? How did everything begin? All this worldview question actually is set up the foundation for us to answer the real life questions. So why does it matter? The way we see the world can change the world. Wow. When you see the apple, what do you see, John?
Green.
Okay. What other people can answer? What do you see? Or I can name it. Evan, what do you see? When you see the apple, what comes to your mind? Michelle?
Shading.
Huh?
I said shading.
Shading. Oh, I see the shade. Huh? What other people? Because you like to draw, right? So it depends on, if you're a gardener, you see that you can say, oh, what type of apple is that? Excuse me, I don't have time to translate into English, okay? But the artist, you're going to draw it. If you're a business person, oh, I'm going to see what type of apple, how much it costs. So Or for kids, you like, oh, I'm going to eat it. Okay. So you see this apple, but depending on how you see it, you're going to take different actions. And that's why the worldview is very important, because you're going to take different action with that. Then what is a worldview? What is a worldview? It's a sum total of our beliefs about the world, the big picture that direct our daily decisions and actions. And you may not know, you may not say, oh, I don't have, but everybody has, just you don't know, all right? For example, you're sitting here, listen to me. Your worldview is different than those who, at this time, they are not joined, right? So your big picture that directs our daily decision and actions. This may sound a bit vague, but as we go along, you're going to see more clearly. This from the book, okay? He said, we are either helping to create an hell on earth or helping to bring down a foretaste of heaven. We are either advancing the rule of Satan or establishing the reign of God. Our choices are shaped by what we believe is real and truth, right and wrong, good and beautiful. Our choices are shaped by our worldview. Okay, that's why it's so important, right? And usually, there people can 3 or 4. I'm going to put it 4 questions about Christian worldview. And I hope you understand this. This will also help us to answer people's question or defend your faith. Like say you want to talk to your Muslim friend, you talk to your Hindu friend, you can use this framework to discuss. First one, where do we come from and who are we? Okay? Each worldview, each religion has its answer. Then you can discuss from there, okay? And see the similarity or difference. Second, what went wrong, okay? Third, how do you fix it? Everybody sees problem, but without knowing behind the thing, you're going to have different way to fix it, okay? And then lastly, how we're going to live it out. Actually, this is more personal and practical. We're not just here to try to debate, talk about some intellectual, something happened in our society now. Most importantly, how we're going to live, okay? And I feel that this is more compelling, because if you follow the user's guide, which is the Bible, you can live a happier life, all right? Okay, so try to memorize creation. Next, what is that? John?
Oh,
thank you. Redemption.
I got you.
And restoration. I just make sure, did you follow yourself now? Okay. Right. All right. Next, all truth is God's truth. We all know this verse very well, right? How about Jeffrey? Can you read this verse for us?
Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
Okay. When we talk about this, usually say, oh yeah, no problem. Jesus is the truth. He's the one who saved us, right? Only through him we can be saved. But we feel like usually also the church just let you know, oh, this is within the salvation. This is within the church, okay? But if outside the church, when you study physics, when you study math, when you study history, you won't think about this verse. At least I will never thought about the verse. But actually, if he is the truth, he should cover everything. That's why the early church father, early Christian, they believe all truth is God's truth. And with this belief, it's going to compel you to do something outside the church, okay? And where do it come from? From the Bible. Our Christian word is from the Bible. And that's why we should learn the Bible, know the Bible inside out well. Otherwise, it's just followed by the world, right? And actually, believe it or not, the world, the non-Christian, they know the Bible better than us. You often hear that, right? People will quote Bible verse for their action. Why they do that? They quote Bible verse, and it's, wow, we never see Bible verse can be applied in this way, right? I like this Abraham Kuyper. He was prime minister. Yes, was a prime minister of Netherlands, Dutch. Okay, and he said, in the total expanse of human life, there is not a single square inch of which the Christ, who alone is sovereign, does not declare that is mine. I would like to ask this question. John, if I come to visit your home, can I go into your bedroom?
Sure.
Are you sure?
I have nothing to hide.
Okay, good. All right. So if Jesus come to visit you, is he allowed to come into your bedroom?
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right.
Because every single square inch belongs to Christ.
Okay. All right. You got an idea. Okay. Very often we just say, oh, Jesus, welcome you. Come to my guest room. Ooh, I'm going to give you a very, very nice guest room. And you can stay in the living room. You can stay in the dining room. But please, okay, don't come into my bedroom. That's my private room. Okay. But Jesus is not satisfied with that. So every square inch, not just our bedroom, everywhere in the world, because God created, right? So that's the idea you get, okay? Why understanding Christianity as a total life system is absolutely essential. First, it enables us to make sense of the world we live in and thus order our lives more rationally, all right? And I grew up in the church. Too often the church, we just talk about justified by faith, which is very important. How can the living, we need how become a Christian, okay, and share the gospel. But we didn't talk about it much on the world. How about that? If you want to be involved in the politics, what should you do? You want to be an artist. What do you do? Is the Bible help us besides just say, oh, you need to have good morality, okay? But you're going to be involved in economy. How are you going to do that? I think that's what we are lacking. Second, it enables us to understand force hostile to our faith, equipping us to evangelize and defend Christian faith as God's instrument for transforming culture. All right. So we need to know what's the force hostile to our faith. Actually, very often we are influenced by them and we don't know, right? So in this series of worldview study, we're going to focus on our mind, okay? The ideas have consequences. This is the title of this book, okay? But this is also, isn't the truth? You see the sequence. A great ideas will inform our mind, will fire the imagination, will move the heart, and shape the culture. You can take any idea in our current society now. That's how you started. In the beginning, people say, are you crazy? Why come you have this idea? But if you some people to create ideas and then start to do it, inform the mind, and you're going to see it. And that's why university intellectuals is so important. And you got to see who is control the university, control those mind. Recently, I found out that the Harvard University, only 1% of faculties, professor, they identify themselves as conservative. 99% consider themselves as liberal. So now you can know, all right, before we say which right or wrong or something, you can see who is shaping the idea, who is shaping the culture, whose ideas, okay? And that's why idea has much more power than the real weapon, okay? Than the real, like your gun or something, because the idea has much more influence. So what type of ideas we are being influenced now? This book called A Secular Age, very thick, and people think so. This is one of the most important book for 20. Well, we are in 21st century. He said, why was it virtually impossible not to believe in God in, say, 1500? In our Western society, where in 2000, many of us find this not only easy, but even inescapable. What does that mean? If you live in 16th centuries, you're going to be believing God. That's no question. Because no matter where you go, okay, God is there, or God's symbol is there, or God's idea is there. You cannot escape. And people surrounding you, everybody believe in God, and you say, whoa, okay? I don't say this is good, or sometimes you don't know what you believe, okay? But that's the age. But now it's opposite now, right? I don't know if you, unless you come to church, or sometimes even come to church, you don't find God. Where are you going to find God? You go to mall, do you find God there? The music, the style, the atmosphere, you know God is not there, right? So that's the age we are living. And that's why it's so challenging for you, for your generation. You know? Why? Because recently, actually this storm, okay, Elmo Moller, he's my professor, the principal of my seminary, right? He said, this book just came out last month, called The Gathering Storm. He spoke about the secularism, okay? So this storm has been on the horizon and working its way through history for over a century now. But in our own day, with the dramatic strength and acceleration, this is the gathering storm of the secularism. So, wow, just in a few months, right? We see this storm strengthen. And that's why we're here to talk about it, right? He printed this book out in June, and they really just hit it. You know, it's just so fitting. That's what we are now, okay? Just think about it. I make this own picture. We are living, if you say medieval time is dark age, we are in different dark age, okay? We are surrounded, overcrowded by a secular age idea, naturalism, moral realism, multiculturalism, programming, progress, or whatever you name it, and even inside the church. Remember how many percentage of people has Christian worldview? Gen Z, only 4%, okay? If we have 20 people here, or we have 10 people here, only, oh no, 4%. Oh, we gotta have 100 people, only 4 people has this. Wow. That's quite serious, right? Do fish know their weight? And that's especially for younger generation, because you're born in this secular age. Probably many of you, before you come to church, before you know God, I mean, I know some of you grew up in the church, that's different. But some, if you don't know God before, probably you never know. You never know you're wet, right? You have no such idea, because you just born that. What do you mean by wet? If they have discussion, hey, fish, hey, do you know what's wet? What do you mean? Right? Or someone had different answer. Do fish know they're wet? Anyone?
No, they don't know that they're wet.
Okay, thank you, Evan. Thank you. All right.
It's good that they just don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So now come to this part. Discipleship of the mind. This from other book, I found this, I like it very much. Okay. Commitment without reflection is fantasism in action. The reflection without commitment is a paralysis of all action. What it means that we need to think thoroughly before we do any action, okay? But you just keep on thinking and no action is also not good, all right? We need to keep the balance. Well, I think we Christian, our mind, we didn't have exercise too much because we separated. We feel like we need to love the Lord with all our heart, with all our emotion, okay? But we left out the mind, especially on how we live outside. When you go to school, when you study certain subject, do you think about God? When you study psychology, study history, do you think about God in this? Okay, we let it go. So the Bible says we need to take every thought captive back and let it belong to Christ. All right? That's what we try to learn, at least from ourselves. Take every thought captive to obey Christ. Right? And to grow in our thinking, be mature. All right? In our thinking. To love the Lord with all our mind. All right? Actually, we all pretty good on this, but we Chinese, right? We all get A because we are Asian. We are not Bijan, right? We all can get A, Asian. So, but when we come to our faith, we often let our mind behind. Then how do you cultivate this? Read, by reading. Of course, read Bible, right? We all know this verse well. All scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproving, for correcting, and for training in righteousness. Usually we stop there. But 17, look at what 17. Who's there? Can someone read that for me? Verse 17.
That the man of God may be complete, equipped for every good, I can't see the rest. Oh, for every good work.
Okay, thank you, John. You see, equipped for every good work means God wants us to learn the Bible and then do the good work, right? Not just study it. All right. Okay, we've been in the church been talking about Bible reading, right? And Sunday morning 9:15 we're going to start it devotion also. So those you didn't come to join us during the weekday, welcome to join us this Sunday morning 9:15, right? But also need to read good books. Okay, I like this quote a lot. A month. Okay, who can read this for me? If you can read the Latin, it would be great too.
A monastery without a library, sine armario, is like a castle without an armory. Sine armamentario. Our library is our armory.
Great. Hey, John, I know you take the Latin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you learn that words?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, good. You see? But do you have the armory? I mean, okay, not the real, you have those AK-47 or A or whatever, okay? I mean, your book, okay? And I think that's a problem. What we are lacking is that we no longer read books. Whenever you feel relaxed, or maybe sometimes me too, just watch video, right? Because we live in the internet age. And that's why our mind really lost it. And unfortunately, I feel like, especially with Christians, we think less. And actually, a lot of non-Christians, I feel like they really study very hard, especially on mind. We Chinese, we often just study being engineer, being I don't know, accounting, whatever it is, which is good, but we can influence the idea. The real top people can influence idea what? Philosophy, history, English, literature, psychology, right? That is really going to influence the society. And I pray one of you, some of you, may into that with biblical mind. Wow, I probably some of you know about this. That's my professor Ross Elbermoller's basement, his own private library. More than, that's like 10 years ago, more than 50,000 books. I don't know how many books he has now. And we get to visit the place. And he will stand before the entrance. What question you ask him when you see him, when you are there?
Have you read all the books?
Yes. And I asked the question, do you know what's his answer?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He said that. He read all the books. Oh my. You know, he said when he grew up, I heard it. When he grew up, he read encyclopedia from A to Z. Wow. And then whenever he goes, he carry books. All right. He didn't carry the phone. Back then, there's no phone. All right. That's how you build up your mind, by reading good books. And so he had this program. I listen to him every day. Now it's July. He's taking the break. I think I share some of you in church HCMY Connect. So he had this called briefing every day, half an hour, to talk about daily issues and from the biblical worldview. And that's why it really inspired me. And that's why I went to Southern, because I listened this for over a year. Okay. So if some of you you're wondering why the church didn't get into that, okay, yes, I know that, because I need to try very hard to get answer and to know how to deal with this issue. And you see, he will be on the CNN, and that's what we call in the city gate. And I pray some of you who grew up be like the person in the city gate to defend for Christian truth. Because now it's so hostile to Christian faith now. But we cannot just go out there to, oh, you this pagan, you go to hell, do all this. No. We need to mind to mind, worldview to worldview, to tell them why Christianity makes sense, why we take this stand. Okay, we need to have a young people can stand at the city gate to talk to the world. And I pray some of you listen to me now. Holy Spirit will inspire you. Doesn't mean you gotta be a pastor. If you are a doctor, okay, make it be a great doctor. And when the thing happens, that you can go out there to defend why I do this certain way. When the world say, hey, why don't we do that? Say no, because Bible said it. Then why? Okay. If you this going to be more and more coming to our world, right? So you better read good books. Okay. If a man wants to read good book, he must make a point to avoid bad ones. For life is short and time and energy limited. Okay, doesn't mean we don't read any other book that not Christian. Okay, no. Elbermiller read a lot of books not Christian, because you also want to know what's enemy ideas. Okay, but you gotta limit yourself, all right, to have wisdom. Choose what book to read. And even Paul, when he was in the jail, he asked Timothy, said, when you come, bring the car, and I left with copies at the, also bring book, scroll, and the parchment. This is all book. Okay, he didn't say, hey, when you come to visit me, bring some instant noodle, okay? Bring the Xbox, all right? I'm here, I'm so bored. No, he said, bring the book to me. I like this picture. This is school that most the CEO of the Amazon, eBay, Facebook send their children to this Waldorf school, very expensive one. They don't use computer. They read on the real desktop. All right. So now you know. Now you know why the people in the world are so smart. Okay. And these people that they know the computer game will dumb your mind. So they design those games, but they send their kids to the school, no computer. My time is only okay. So in the preferred reflection, you think about it. Okay, We live forward, but we can only backward. That's why you see whenever the retreat, we won't say the time of meditation. You need to think. Why not just keep on read. You also need to stop and reflect, to think. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. All right. I want to use this. This translation is even more interesting. Can someone read it for me? Except John, okay? Who do we have? Evan, are you there?
Can I do it?
Okay, you do it. All right, Michael.
Romans 12:2. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what he wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you.
Okay, thank you. You see that? Very, very much like more like a commentary, right? The message. Okay, he changed it look like this. Okay, so this is my final charge, right? Also is a charge from Chuck Colson. He said we need to be a translator, okay? To translate God's revelation into the language of the world. We must be able to speak to the scientists in the language of science, the artist in the language of art, to the politician in the language of politics. So I pray, I encourage you, okay? You would like to study, your parents want you to study well for God, okay? So you're going to learn the language of your field and then speak God's revelation to the field. That is God's missionary too, all right? Not just say you got to be those traditional missionary, go to abandon all your work or go to share the gospel. We need that, but we also need many Christians to speak God's revelation in their field, because each field we need to tap back to God. So the last one, Chuck Colson said, we must be men and women who dare to wrestle Christianity free from its fortress mentality, its sanctuary stronghold, and establish it once again as a great life system and cultural force that acknowledges the Creator as sovereign over all. So I hope you be that type of person. Okay, not too bad, right? Half an hour. So this will be the questions or any other thing you come up from this, okay? All right, leaders,